Hello and welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. Today we'll be doing the predictions for game week 28. Unfortunately, I don't have my co-host with me for this episode, but they'll be back in the next one. Thank you so much for joining us. They're actually doing brilliant, my co-host. They're predicting properly. They're getting those points in the table, whereas I need to up my game. I've been very poor in my predictions. I've been way off. But I still have a crack for this game week 28. Another good fixture list, it seems. And the football just keeps going on and on. In between, we have some Champions League games as well. So that's excellent. This is where squad rotation as well is very important. We've been stressing it for the last couple of months. Teams will have injuries. We've seen a lot of teams have injuries. City are dealing with it the best because they have that squad. I think the games move on. It's great for the fans. Football every week. It's a beautiful sight. So let's crack on with this week's predictions. First game, Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Both the teams coming off draws. Aston Villa in particular, they're missing Jack Grealish a lot. That creativity is kind of missing. Although they did win a couple of games without him, El Ghazi stepped up. But you can see even Watkins, he's not getting those touches in the area as much when Grealish is not there. Grealish is that focal point in their team. I think there's still doubt whether he'll play this game. He might not play. So Villa will be hoping for a speedy recovery and that he comes back quick. Newcastle, on the other hand, they really need wins if they want to stay up in the season. They've got a few draws here and there, but against the likes of West Brom, they would have really wanted the 3 points. It's these games where they really want to win, and against Villa as well, they'll need to attack and try to get the points because Villa are without the best players. So it's a good chance for Newcastle, but at the same time, they will be under pressure. And Villa, despite not having Grealish, they will try to create against Newcastle. They have some good players there, and I think, to be honest, it'll be a close, narrow win for Villa, 1-0. I'll go 1-0 Villa for this game. And then moving on to the next game, Leeds United versus Chelsea. Chelsea have been in fantastic form since Tuchel has arrived. Just brilliant. Defensively, they've been very organized. They've gotten the clean sheets. Very difficult to break down this Chelsea team. And there is criticism of their attacking prowess. You want them to be more clinical, but that's coming slowly. You can see it. Havertz comes in and gets 2 assists against Everton. That's a big performance by him. Ideally, they'll want Werner to score, but he's getting into good goal scoring positions. But once Werner starts scoring consistently, this Chelsea team, I think, will be even better because once your striker gets those goals, then whatever happens in the defensive side of things, you will pose a threat. So I think, defensively, they're keeping the clean sheets, which is brilliant. They're getting the 1 or 2 chances, converting them. So this Chelsea team is looking really organized, whereas Leeds just lost to West Ham. It's been a hot and cold season for Leeds. One game they win, one game they lose. I think when it's teams who play on the counter, who defensively organized, Leeds struggle a bit because they leave a lot of space at the back. And when you leave a lot of space, then the other team will have plenty of chances. But the good thing about Leeds, they keep attacking. We saw against West Ham, it wasn't a convincing win from West Ham. Leeds had their chances, they missed it. They can't afford that. That's the thing with them. Like if the style they play, they're going to keep attacking. They will concede, but they need to take the chances. And if they took the chances, they could have drawn or even won against West Ham. So Leeds will more of the same. I'm not going to criticize them too much because I think for a promoted side, it's been a remarkable season so far. The way they've played, the style of football, the goals they've scored has been incredible. Yes, there are defensive frailties, but with the squad they have, they're doing the best that they can. And ideally, against Chelsea, they'll have to be a bit more defensively alert, way more defensively alert, and they need to take the chances. Like if Bamford gets a couple, he needs to score. He's not been in the greatest form against West Ham as well. You saw him miss a few chances here and there. So I think still Chelsea will exploit that that space at the back, and I'm going with a 3-1 Chelsea win. I think Tuchel's men have enough to take on Leeds and win this game. So that's my prediction for Chelsea versus Leeds, 3-1 to Chelsea. And then moving on to Palace versus West Brom. West Brom drawing against Newcastle, but West Brom recently have been tough to beat. They've gotten results. I think they got a 1-0 win the week before as well. So they're defensively they're doing a good job. They're keeping clean sheets. That's what you expect from Sam Allardyce. He's a brilliant manager in these situations when it's crunch time and you need your team to survive the drop. He's the man to do it, and so far he's done a good job. There's still a long way to go, and these are the games where he'll need to take advantage. He did that a couple of game weeks back. He'll be disappointed against Newcastle. Probably would want to win, but a draw is still okay for him. But against Palace, attackingly, they will provide a threat. They will provide a threat against West Brom. They will attack that defense. But if West Brom can, hold on and shut out that Palace attack, then on the other side of things, they will have the chances. Palace have been poor in defense. You saw against Tottenham, they got the goal. Benteke scored, but then they conceded for it. The defensive frailties are very obvious. Crystal Palace. So West Brom will look to exploit that. We saw Zaha coming off the bench against Spurs, so that's a good sign for Crystal Palace. More of that. They do play good footballs at times, but like defensively, they need to be much stronger. And when they have Benteke, they have Zaha, they have Ayu, they have Eze, but it's defensively they have to improve that for sure. So I'm gonna probably go with a 2-2. I think it might be a bit high scoring with Palace's attack and then the defense as well leaking goals. So I just feel it's going to be a 2-2, a draw for both teams. Moving on to the next game, Everton versus Burnley. Everton, I think, coming off such a good run, they were very poor against Chelsea. Expected more from them, at least a draw. Like they weren't that convincing. They would struggle to. I think they struggled to break down Chelsea, and that's why they got a bit more frustrated. Chelsea kind of beat them at their own game. Ancelotti is much more organized. His team is much more organized when it comes to the bigger games, and we lacked a bit of that. We saw that lacking against Chelsea. But fair enough. They've had a good season so far. You will have blips, and that could be considered a blip. Now they're going to come against another team who are a bit difficult to break down, but Burnley have been leaking goals recently. So I think Everton will really want to exploit that and score as many. Whatever chances they get, finish them. And then defensively, they need to be organized because Burnley can hit you in the counter. Like I saw against Arsenal, Burnley were Arsenal were dominating them. Aubameyang, Saka, all these guys were, creating chances, and Arsenal just couldn't put them away. And then one mistake from Arsenal, Burnley 1-1, and they hung on. Then Burnley had their own chances to win the game as well. So Burnley are a type of team, you have to take the chances against them. If you don't, they will make it difficult for you to score goals against them. So, I still feel that Everton will pip this. I'll go 1-0 Everton. A narrow win for the Toffees is my prediction. And then moving on, Fulham versus Man City. Fulham coming off a high, excellent win against Liverpool, away from home at Anfield. I think attackingly they provided a threat. There were a lot of chances. It wasn't just one chance and they won the game. There's quite a few chances. Lookman was in the dangerous area a few times. He could have scored. And I think they did a brilliant job against Liverpool. The midfield was solid. The defense was excellent to keep a clean sheet against the defending champions, no matter what form they're in. It's a brilliant achievement because Liverpool still had their striker. So I think Scott Parker has done a really good job this season. He's got a lot of draws, and I think that victory against Liverpool will be a very it'll be a brilliant result, brilliant feeling for him. A fresh kind of feeling in the dressing room now, because now they feel that yes, we can win. It's just not about the draws or something like that. They're a tough team to beat, Fulham, but I think this Man City side has a bit too much. We saw United do a really good job on them last weekend, but apart from that, City have been magnificent this season. They started off a bit poorly, but then the run they went on from December onwards has just been fantastic. No matter who's injured, someone comes in, fills in. When KDB was injured, Gundogan filled in. Now KDB's back, he's scoring goals. Mahrez, I think, last few games he's just been outstanding. He's been the best player, I think. Against United, he was quiet, but apart from that, the other 3-4 games that I've seen him play, he's provided a threat from that right side and cutting in. He's been brilliant with assists and goals. I think Sterling has been disappointing. He gets into positions, but he's not been clinical enough. It's been a constant criticism of him during his career, and he will want to work on that. He will need to improve on that. But he is he's a class player as well, Sterling. He just needs to improve his finishing. And I think Aguero is slowly coming back as well. Foden has been sensational whenever he comes on. So I think the City team will be difficult to beat. They'll be disappointed. They've conceded. They didn't keep a clean sheet this week, both against United and Southampton. But that Southampton game showed the attacking threat that City have. So I probably feel that I want to go for a draw, but I'm really behind in the table, and I know everyone else, my co-hosts, are going to go for City. So I'll probably go with the 2-0 City win for this game against Fulham. Although it won't be that easy for City, I think Fulham will make their lives a bit difficult, a bit. And then moving on, Southampton versus Brighton. I think. This game is going to be a fun game. Southampton, they beat Sheffield. They'll be going in with confidence despite not having Danny Ings. He was injured, but they played really well against Sheffield. Against City, they conceded too many goals, 5-2, but they showed that they can score. They scored a couple of goals against that City defense, so that will give them confidence. They're not expected to win those games regularly, but the likes against the likes of Sheffield, Brighton, they want those results, for sure. So I think they will be confident going in, even though it was a mixed bag for them this week. Ward-Prowse has been scoring whenever he gets a set piece or penalty. He will score. He's really good from the corners as well. Che Adams is filling in for Danny Ings, and he's doing a good job. He scored against Sheffield and City. So Southampton attackingly, they're providing attackingly they do have options, and the players are coming back from injury as well. So that'll give them a lot of confidence. And I feel, going into this game, they do have an advantage. They're playing a Brighton side who have been extremely unlucky. I've watched their games, especially the last 3-4 games. I've watched very closely, and I think they've been very unlucky. Again, last week they were leading 1-0 against Leicester. They dominated the first half, and then suddenly, just second half, couple of mistakes here and there, and that's it. The game was done. Against West Brom, I think, was it the week before as well? They were very unlucky. Free kick didn't go with their way. They missed 2 penalties. So this Brighton team, would you say it's like making mistakes under pressure? Would you say it's luck? I think it's a mixed bag. They need, when they do get the chances, they have to finish them, especially if you get 2 penalties in a game. It's not acceptable that you miss both of them. So they will need to improve on that. I think they've played some good football this season. They have been unlucky at times, but they will need to take the chances. They can't just let it go like that. And they're coming up against a Southampton side who are slowly getting into confidence. I think this is going to be a really good game. And to be honest with you, I think Southampton will win this, but I just feel bad for Brighton. I think they've done really good and they deserve something from this game. So I'm going to go 1-1. And, I think either side can win it as well, to be honest with you, because Brighton do have the players. They're playing some good football. Southampton as well. They have that attacking threat despite Danny Ings not being there. I think it's going to be a closely contested game, 1-1 Southampton-Brighton. That's my prediction. And then moving on to the biggest game of the game week, the North London derby. I wish Abrar was here with me right now. We'd be discussing it. I know what he would be saying. He'd be all for Arsenal right now. But despite that, I think it's going to be a great game. The Spurs looking really good now. Finally, last few games they've won 3 games on the trot now, and attackingly they're scoring goals. It's not just they do have the 1-0 wins here and there, but now they're scoring 4 goals in a game. So that'll give a lot of confidence. The resurgence of Gareth Bale is back, man. The resurrection, from 10 years back now, he's back at White Hart Lane and Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and he's killing it again, scoring goals left, right, and center. And that trio of him, Son, and Kane has just been outstanding last few games. It's lovely to watch. Harry Kane, he's shown that he's the best striker in the Premier League. And he's not just scoring, he's providing assists. 2 assists and 2 goals in 1 game. That's a FPL manager's delight. Unfortunately, I didn't have him in my team, but he was just remarkable. Exceptional. Probably the best striker right now. And he's shown that it's when he's fit, Tottenham are a different team. And it's not just him scoring goals. He will provide the assists as well. Attacking, they have a lot of options, Tottenham. But they're coming up against a good Arsenal side. Mind you, look, Arsenal, I've watched their games as well. Their results have been poor. They've made silly mistakes, I think. But their squad is not as bad as where the position is right now in the table. They actually have a good squad, and they're actually playing good football in parts. Against Burnley the other day, I think Saka was brilliant in the beginning, but wasteful. Aubameyang he scored, but then again wasteful. So they're getting into good positions. Partey was decent as well. They have good players. They're playing good football, but they make silly mistakes, and they need to cut that out, especially in big games. Even in small games, they need to cut it out, because there's so many small games this season where Arsenal should have actually won the game. It's not totally a bad performance. Yes, there have been bad performances here and there. I'm not going to defend them in that, but when they're playing well, like they were against Burnley, to make a mistake like that is just like, suicide. Like they have to improve on that. And I feel that this is the game, because all the fans will be watching. They don't want to be losing this game. They lost the reverse fixture at the beginning of the season against Spurs. They want to step up. It's going to be Aubameyang versus Kane. I think both in good form. Let's see how that goes. Defensively, there have been errors from both sides. This is not the typical Mourinho defense. There are some holes there, some gaps there. I think Højbjerg and Partey, that's going to be a brilliant battle. Like whoever does a better job, I think, will help their team. Of course, you have to finish your chances. So up front, Kane and Aubameyang, they have to do their thing. I just feel Tottenham have a bit more attacking options in terms of Bale and Son, whereas Arsenal, they do have Saka, but and Lacazette, but they're not as clinical as this trio. I still think it's going to be an extremely close game. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is the match to watch out for. And it's a fun derby. Arsenal Spurs always provides entertainment. And I think I'm going to go with, this is going to be difficult, but I'm probably going to go 2-2. I have a soft corner for Spurs. I hope they win, but I think it's going to be 2-2. Like, it's going to be a close game, entertaining game. Both sides will have chances for sure. It's about who's going to take those chances, and defensively, who makes slightly the lesser errors. I'm very excited for this game, to be honest, at the Emirates. The Arsenal versus Spurs. I'm going 2-2. And moving on to the next game, Manchester United versus West Ham. Manchester United will be booming with confidence after beating Man City in the Manchester derby. West Ham, on the other hand, a great win for them against Leeds. It wasn't the greatest performance, but they got the result. And I think West Ham will cause problems to United. United have been struggling in these kind of games, against Everton as well. We saw the 3-3, even against the lower teams in West Brom, against Palace, against Sheffield. They've done poorly a bit this season. And that's the thing with United. I've been very inconsistent as well to a certain extent. They've looked brilliant in some games. Like Harry Maguire looks like unbeatable against City, but then against Sheffield, he just looks like, what is he doing? Like, this is like schoolboy errors. So even attacking wise, I think Martial is coming back into form. He's looking good. He'll need to start finishing though. Like that chance against City, he should have buried that. He needs to start burying his chances. Rashford, on the other hand, he has an injury. He might not play. But Bruno has been brilliant this season. Like he scored a penalty, but he was good on the counter-attack against City. So this United team, I think, but they will have some trouble. But the one thing is that Lingard can play because he's on loan to West Ham from United. So he's not going to play. He's been one of West Ham's best players going forward. He's been scoring goals left, right, and center, giving assists as well. But this West Ham team will provide problems for United. They have Antonio, some really good players. Ben Rama is there. Bowen is there. They will create chances, I think. And it's about United not making those defensive errors. But United will have their own chances. And I think United need to have, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's fatigue or not, but like they need to consistently have that energy that they did against City. Maybe not exactly the same, but there's a discrepancy in games. Like in one game they look lethargic, in one game they're so energetic. They need to be more consistent in that, I feel. And it's going to be a close game. I think a very close game. It's not going to be easy for Manchester United. This is a kind of fixture that probably is not the comfortable ones, but I'll pick United for this. I think I'll go 2-1 Manchester United against West Ham. It'll be a very close game in my opinion. And then Wolves versus Liverpool, the last game of this game week. So with Liverpool, I mean, I've never predicted them to win this season, and I didn't expect this form, to be very honest with you. Like I've never expected them to lose like 5-6 games in a row at Anfield. It's just been astonishing. They've done well in the Champions League. They beat Leipzig. They go through the quarterfinals. But in the Premier League, it's been a dismal performance by them this season so far, after starting off really well, actually. So I don't know what it is. They yes, defensively they do have injuries. Midfield they do have injuries. That's causing some issues. But I've seen them get into attacking positions and missing. That's the problem. We saw Shaqiri miss chances. We saw Salah. We saw Mane in the last game. So it's not just the lack of productivity in the midfield or defensively, defensive errors. It's also missing chances, and they cannot afford that now because they do have injuries. They need the strikers to score as much as possible, and they do play some really good football, Liverpool, and they put constant pressure on the teams. Having said that, I think Wolves, Nuno is a great coach. I feel like despite not having Jimenez and a lot of players, a couple of players transferred out this season. They're still doing a good job, especially against big teams that are organized. They will lose the games here and there, but I think the defensive structure is solid. Attacking, somebody steps up and scores the goals. They might not have that, if they had Jimenez, they probably would have been much better this season. But still, I think they will cause Liverpool some issues. I'm going to go with a 1-1 in this game. But Liverpool will really need to win this game, and I think they might. But I'm just going with 1-1. That's my thinking. But at the same time, yes, because the top four is on the line now for Liverpool. They can't afford slips anymore. They have to win these games. Ideally, like even the Fulham game, they should have won. But it is what it is. Now they have to just win what's in front of them as much as possible. No more further blips for them, and that's what they would ideally like. But let's see how that goes. I think, that wraps up the games. It's going to be a brilliant week. I'm really looking forward to all the games, especially that North London derby. I think it's going to be fantastic. And thank you so much for joining me. Abrar, Zohair, and Ashish will be sending in their predictions as well. So we'll post that on Instagram. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and like this video. Thank you so much for joining us, and take care and enjoy the game week.